Hello, hello. Welcome, everyone. Who's ready for the first qualifying of 2023? Hey, Jordan, how's it going, buddy? Good to see you, mate. Good to see you. Yeah, welcome, everyone. Hope you're doing well. Let's see what this qualifying session has in store for us. Hey, Kaka, Sam, Kat, Hammy, Ammo, welcome, buddy. Glad to see the season back. Yes, most definitely. Most definitely, I am. It's been a while, wasn't it? I have been a little bit lost with the sport. Obviously, we had the football, the World Cup and that, but yeah, it's good to have F1 back. Excited for Alonso? Yeah, me too. Me too. I think we're going to be in for a very close fight for pole position. I think we haven't seen Ferrari show their true hands. I don't know. I don't think the Red Bull is as settled as what it was in testing. So I think the Aston Martins have got a great shot at getting a top three in qualifying for sure. I don't think it's all gumph. I think there's definitely something about them. Feels like it's been a year since the last race. I know. Wish it was a longer season. Well, it does go throughout the year. I think it's long enough, to be fair. It's just obviously a very long gap between the season starting again compared to kind of any other sport. So, all here for the Alonso P1 hype car. Looked like they dialed in too much understeer in that last session. Yeah, I didn't catch the last session. But I think the Mercedes is hoping for a bit of luck. They just don't have the race pace. Well, they don't have the pace in general, it seems. So they're going to have to hope for a bit of luck like they did last year in regards to getting a result. But hopefully they can fix it. I've got my Mercedes mug out. Stroll shouldn't be allowed to race. Well, saying that's I'm just gonna say Scott. He in today's practice sessions was actually turning the steering wheel as he should be. So I think yesterday was an anomaly. It's the first time he's been back in the car. I even question it. Lots of people were questioning it. So yeah, we'll see. I think he was able to get. I didn't see if he was able to get in and out of the car. Okay, but I think he was able to. In just under half an hour or 25 minutes, just under 25 minutes, Ben, 3 o'clock GMT is qualifying. And we know what Max thinks about understeer. Yes, we do, Shane, yeah. Which is why, once again, I think Perez is a sneaky one. He's going very understated. He's going about his business, doing his runs, and he's just happy to just... He's been quite quiet, really, isn't he? I think Perez is someone to keep an eye out for. So, but yes, so for anyone who is new here and is new to these watch-alongs, so at the moment, of course, it's just chatting. We use the F1 live timing data. So we have a live track map, we have the live data that is available, and that is how we view the session, basically. You can either use me entirely as you like, as my alternative commentary, or you can use me as support with watching F1, or if you don't have F1 coverage anywhere in the world, which a lot of you don't seem to, this is what these watch-alongs help you out. So you do have a visual representation of what is actually going to be happening out on track. It's not just me watching the TV and describing to you guys what's happening. Because personally for me, that's not... Yeah, I know other people do watch-alongs that way, but that's not really how I like to do it. Or I'm not engaged that sort of way. Alonso third World Drivers' Championship. It'd be great to see him fight for it at 42 years old. 42. Jesus, man. Make or break season for Perez and Max have another season together, in my opinion. Depends, Shane. Yeah, it really depends how he performs. If he does his job, which is be a number 2 and get the results needed to secure a Constructors' Championship and help Max get points, then I think they'll be happy with that, Red Bull. A lot of it depends this year in regards to the other teams. I think it depends if the teams are able to catch up to Red Bull, and then his number 2 status is really he's gonna have to earn his chops. That's for sure. Even though he signed a contract extension, I mean, Lando might be on the market or looking for a seat next year if McLaren don't get their act together. So, yeah, they have Danny Rick, of course, waiting in the wings as well. So, I think there'll be opportunities there. Definitely, even though he signed a contract. It's just like in football. We know contracts actually don't mean a lot. Like, people can be bought, and especially the money that is in F1, they can... Buying someone out of a contract is quite easy money for them. It's going to be very close this year. Hope so, Sam. Really hope so. Because second half of the year was a bit boring, wasn't it? Let's be honest. Wasn't too much that happened. We kind of had to look for individual stories happening in each race towards the end of the year rather than the overarching championship, because Max had it wrapped up very early. Credit to Red Bull, though. Made a great car. Pit Lance 5 times my fantasy and Lawrence Stroll's both constructed. Hey, Pavit, good to see you again, buddy. Love from India. We've gone global. We've gone global, guys. Second season was quite way off Max, probably not being able to live with the car and its optimal setup. I agree, Connor. Well, Alex Albon come out just recently, didn't he? And he said, like, he doesn't mind the pointy car, Alex Albon, but Max Verstappen likes it so far on the nose that Alex just couldn't cope with it. I don't think that's why Gasly couldn't cope with it either. And of course, the development of the car heads towards that way. So it's probably quite difficult for them to alter the individual setup. There's only so much they can do to make the car suited to themselves. So, Chucky Leclerc out putting a good race. Yeah, I think the Ferraris haven't shown their true hand. I think they've got some pace. I think Ferrari once again is going to have a quick car over a single lap. It's just whether or not they can they sorted out the degradation of the tyres. They killed their tyres last year. Have they got a good race car? Them having a good quick qualifying car was never really in doubt last year. It was over a whole race length. So, hey Violet, I deserve 100k subs one day. Well, we're very close to 10k. Taking each milestone at a time. We're less than 100 and just need over 170 subs until we reach 10k. So yeah, I mean that's a goal that I never thought I'd achieve when I set up the channel. So, I suppose if you can live with it in the worst oversteer parts of the track, you can gain so much in the front limit corners. Yeah, Max would like Ben set up this week. Oh mate, yeah. I think that's why I was so sketchy with it, Connor. On the medium tyres to start off with, because when I did a few laps of practice beforehand, I spun it in the first sector so often. So I see what these guys mean. I mean, I like a pointy setup as well. I like the car being a bit more on the front end, but that was kind of next level. I just tried the thick setup, and actually I felt so much more confident, especially with the pace that I found last night. So yeah, looking forward to running that later. Fire from Mazepin's basement. Pavet, what are my thoughts on Lewis with the W14? It just seems like they've limited the porpoising, but there's still a lot of performance to get out of the car. It looks like that they've got a lot of mid-corner oversteer. Sorry, the car looks very snappy, but it has got more straight line speed. Yeah, it just doesn't look like... I mean, I don't think Bahrain has ever really been a very strong track for him. Of course, the W12 was a mega car for him, but Bahrain... Well, actually, no, I tell a lie. They've always been great at Bahrain. I'm going to take that back. That's a false statement, guys. But, yeah, clearly Bahrain isn't isn't good for him in this new iteration of car. Who's going to be this year's Latifi? Ooh. I don't know. I don't know if we'll get a Latifi this year. I think everyone's got an opportunity to maybe score points at some point. There isn't like anyone on the grid now that I would say doesn't necessarily deserve to be there. Definitely Sonoda's last opportunity this year. He really needs to prove himself. Otherwise, it'll be... Otherwise, yeah, I think he'll lose his seat. New rig. Yeah, we got a new rig, Courtney. Not over Christmas. We got a new rig. Oh, how long ago did we get it? Within the last month, we got it. Took me a week to put together in between work. But yeah, no more wobbly wheelbase. It's all solids. That's why the camera angle's a little bit higher now and pointing down at me. You think it'll be Sargent? No, I think he's... Unless the car is really slow. I mean, the Williams is the slowest car at the moment. But Sargent actually looks very comfortable in the car. He actually looks like he's got a bit of something about him. So it just depends whether or not that Williams actually makes any movement forward up the grid. I think it's quite clearly the slowest car. Could be wrong, though. This is the thing. Like, we've taken bits of data, or people have taken bits of data and analysed it, and they've made their assumptions when it comes to testing and practice. Obviously, you can look at the times and stuff, but the true reflection of every car's pace is qualifying, is today. This is when we're going to see how quick the cars truly are. And we'll see relative pace and see where or whereabouts everyone is. Hey, Anish, good to see you, buddy. Oscar Piastri did well in FP3. Yeah, I didn't see FP3 results. I didn't really pay too much attention to it because it's the afternoon session. It's also... Yes, it's the afternoon session. The conditions are not relative to what we're going to see in qualifying or in the race. Practice 2 yesterday. That was the one. And that's the one where Alonso set a faster time than Max on supposedly qualifying runs. But we'll still see a faster qualifying time than what we saw in practice yesterday. So everyone's still holding a little bit back. I think we'll see probably a low 29 in the for pole position today. Because the cars are about 1 to 1.2 seconds faster than they were last year. It was a 30.5 that was the fastest lap last year for pole position. So fully expect in the low 29s probably for fastest lap. I think that's why Danny Rick will be in the seat next year. He's another that loves to oversteer and has had his best years at Red Bull. Yeah, maybe. He's positioned himself well, Danny. Because he's still going to be around, isn't he? Don't believe Ricardo will get back. Yeah, I don't know. I think it'll be Perez, and then I think it'll be someone else. I don't see Danny Rick back in that seat. Stranger things have happened in F1 though, guys. Alonso Max title fight would be crazy, wouldn't it? Because Alonso doesn't back out. This is the thing. Like, Hamilton backed out a lot when he was facing... yeah, Hamilton backed out a lot when he was facing Verstappen. I don't think you'd see Alonso do that. I think there'd be more fireworks with those two. But then you don't know how Max would approach it either. How would Max approach it up against Alonso? Maybe different compared to how he approaches Lewis, or how he always approached Lewis. I'm not sure about Danny Rick. I think he would outperform Perez. Understeering McLaren made him look far worse than he is. Yeah, he also had no confidence on the brakes. No confidence. I mean, Danny is last of the late breakers, always has been. And he had no confidence when it came to braking in that McLaren. In like the 2 iterations that he drove of it. We would all love to see, ideally, 3-4-way fight for the constructors and the drivers. The more, the merrier, to be honest. Keeps it much, much interesting. Alonso takes Max and himself out for Perez or Lewis to win. Imagine. Could happen. Could happen. Qualifying still to come yet, though. They need to put the car in position. Skill in those 4 is just another level, yeah. I mean, that's why, like, you want Mercedes. I am a Mercedes fan, but I I think if you're a neutral F1 fan, you want Mercedes to at least have a challenging car, because Red Bull, Ferrari, Mercedes, Aston Martin now, by the looks of it, obviously proof will still be in the pudding after qualifying in this weekend. 4 teams fighting for race wins. Imagine how good that'll be. That's 8 drivers. That's nearly half the field fighting for a race win. '23, but well, yeah. I mean, if you thought online or F1 Twitter or F1 World got toxic with Max and Lewis fans, have you seen some of the stuff that comes from Fernando Alonso fans? I tell you what, I don't think Twitter would be able to survive it. I don't think they'd be able to survive a Max Alonso 2021 esque season. Wonder what Red Bull will do if Perez drives more selfishly, as he threatened to do. Ooh, yeah. I think he'll just get slapped down. He'll get slapped down, and Max pretty much runs that team, and Red Bull don't want to lose Max Verstappen, so they'll have to do what he wants, really, if Perez was to actually push it and fight for it. So hey, Graham, good to see you, buddy. Qualifying starts, guys. Qualifying starts in just over 10 minutes, just over. So we're just having a bit of a chit chat. Thought I'd build it up, have a little chat with you guys before qualifying starts. There's nothing really to show you on screen as of yet, because the live timing hasn't gone live yet. Normally does it in about 5 minutes time. Perez play second fiddle the way they want him to. Yeah, that's the question, isn't it? That's the question. I mean, if you look at Spain last year, very early on in the season, they basically told him to give Max the win. Now, Max could very well have won that race on his own. We'll never know. But Perez did have kind of a comfortable lead there, and he was told to not fight for the position and just hand it over. And I think that's why kind of Monaco happened the way it did, because he was a bit arsed, a bit fucked off, to be honest, with how he was treated in Barcelona, because that was only the 4th race of the season. That's very early on in the season for them to go, please let Max by. So I totally kind of get where he's coming from. Car seems to suit Perez a bit more than last season from what I've seen. Yeah, so rumours are that the Red Bull actually suits both of their driving styles. So that's more so that it's fallen a bit more into Perez's lap, but Max is very adaptable. That's why he's a great driver. The greatest drivers are able to adapt to any sort of car. So Perez, it's more so that the car's become more comfortable for Perez, but Max is still happy with it and the way it's performing. Although it seems to be reacting differently to how it was in testing to practice. And he said that a couple of times on the radio. So it'd be interesting to see if, have they got the balance right? Have they been able to dial in the setup, or is there something a little bit more of an issue that's kind of developed? But overall, it looks like a very solid car, and all the data analysts are saying that it's probably still the best car, quite clearly. They were so far ahead last year, it kind of makes sense, doesn't it? Because there's not too many big changes from last year to this year. Good man, Sam. Good man. Keep me on, man. Today's the L plan goes into full effect. Yeah. Do you see Tsunoda shape up? And if he does get the heave-ho, who gets his seat? Well, Tsunoda really needs to get his head down, and he really needs to, one, beat his teammate. That's ultimately his first goal, is to beat Nick de Vries, who is come from outside the Red Bull system, has more experience than Tsunoda. I think, overall racing career, not F1 career, of course. But yeah, this is a make or break season for Tsunoda. If he loses his seat, it will be one of the juniors who comes through. I think most likely it will be, I can't remember his name. Liam. I can't remember. What's Liam's last name? The New Zealander. He's already done he's already done the testing session for Red Bull. and AlphaTauri last year. Lawson, that's it, Liam Lawson. I think Liam Lawson will probably step in. It seems like they've kind of groomed him into that. They're building him into it, hence the testing sessions he's got compared to the likes of Dennis Hauger and the other guys. So I think Liam Lawson is eyeing up that seat. He's ready to pounce. So I like Liam Lawson. Yeah, I think he's a great driver this year. I mean, how did he get on earlier on in F2? Is he racing F2 again this year? Let me have a quick look at F2 results. Page isn't directing itself properly. Okay, that's always good. The F2 page on the F1 website isn't working. Oh, Super Formula this year for Liam, is he? Okay, fair enough. Where is that held, Super Formula? I'm not too familiar with that series. Aston Martin, all we have to say is that Vettel must be upset that he retired a year too early. Yeah, maybe. I think Vettel's very content. I think it's quite clear that he'd lost maybe the love of F1 or was ready to bow out. So he had some good final races. Japan, is it? Okay. Yeah, I think he'll be ready to step up into Tsunoda's position. I think unfortunately for Tsunoda, he has been promoted too quickly. He spent 1 year at F3, 1 year at F2, and then he was straight into F1. And he's still very young. He's only 20 years old. And I think he's been a subject of being promoted too early. And I think he got promoted for commercial reasons because of Honda, because of the Japanese connection. And they wanted the Japanese driver in the Red Bull system. And I think he's been a victim of that, really. I think Yuki needed a bit more development, and I think that comes across in the way that he conducts himself over the radio. He's always shouting at his engineers, and you watch him on Drive to Survive as well. He doesn't he's very dismissive of the training, and he does it, but he's very dismissive of the training and everything that goes into being an F1 driver. And I think he needed a bit more development, I think. And the problem is that once you get out of F1, it's very difficult to get back into it. That's the problem. Quali starting in 3 minutes. Are you in the future, Pav? Your clock must be 4 minutes fast because it's 5:02 here. It's 5:54. It's 55 now. 55. I'm gonna check your clock. I've got the look. Hang on, I'll quickly show you. I'm on the website, but I don't want to get done for copyright. But it's got a timer here that's got the countdown. So, right, let's go to the live timing and see if this is now ready to load up. You think De Vries will outperform him? I think he will. I think De Vries is a very good driver, a very capable driver, and I think he will definitely have his work cut out for him, Tsunoda. Right, let's change screen. Stappen and De Vries brotherhood. Oh, why are you all up there? I'm on a different screen. Hang on a sec, guys. Hang on. I'm on the wrong screen. There we go. Oh, right. Here we go. Not long to go. Can't imagine how brutal it must be doing a full GP, done enduro karting and stuff like the Tour on iRacing, and they kill me. Let alone F1 G-Force 90 minutes. Exactly. I mean, imagine Lance Stroll, how he's going to be feeling afterwards. I mean, I think it was quite evident how much it actually takes out of them when Nick De Vries had to be helped out of the car at the end of the Monza race. Because he's obviously a fit guy, but then there's a difference between being like ready and race fit. As I always say with like football, there's match fitness. It's one thing to be like have your own fitness, but you can't prepare yourself. That's why they have pre-season, so that they can get used to obviously the sprints and the moving around and stuff, and just kind of the mental capacity as well. Like, I think we forget how much mentally that takes out of you physically during a race. So yeah, there's a betting Paul on Ocon and Gasly crashing each other out. Maybe. Piastri out in Q2. Yeah, I don't think the McLarens have got enough to get into Q3. I don't think they've got enough. So we're only just over 2 minutes away, guys. Just 2 minutes away. Remember to hit that like button if you can. Hit the subscribe button if you haven't already. I'm going to end the poll once qualifying starts. A number of you, so we've got 52 votes so far. 52% of you think Fernando Alonso is going to qualify on pole position. Then, of course, Max Verstappen next. Then Sergio Perez, and then either one of the Ferraris. I didn't have enough room to put 5 in there. But yeah, I think the Ferraris are sneaky here. I think they've kept their cards close to their chests. I think something could happen. No worries, Sam. No worries, mate. The match adrenaline drains you so much more too. Same in boxes. Exactly. So that's why you can't prepare yourself for it. Well, you can prepare yourself for it, but you have to do the races, become race fit, match fit, etc. There's no better way to get up to speed than to actually do the events and the sport itself. Sounds like Red Bull and Ferrari figured out their cars. I don't think that's an unpopular opinion, Anish. I don't think there will be. Well, of course, they both want to beat each other. They'll have their own internal rivalry, but I don't think it'll be as big as what people are kind of expecting it to be. Oh, thanks, Garrett. Yeah, these watch-alongs, I really enjoyed these watch-alongs last year. They're really good. I kind of try to give my own alternative commentary and keep you guys up to date with everything as we're going along. But how long have we got now?